Houston, listen to me closely, because the ground is shifting beneath our feet. The offseason hasn't even officially kicked into high gear yet, and the headlines are already exploding with an intensity we haven't seen in years. We are looking at a trifecta of stories that could redefine the Texans' legacy and their immediate future. From a former quarterback crossing enemy lines to a historic announcement from the front office that fundamentally changes the landscape. And yes, the ghost of seasons past is speaking out again. You need to sit down for this. This isn't just news. This is a seismic shift for our Texans.
Let's get straight to the business of football versus the raw emotion of the game, because this first story walks that line dangerously. Sources confirm that a former Houston Texans quarterback has officially signed with a direct rival team. This is a major career announcement that shakes the foundation of loyalty in this division. We are talking about a player who knows the internal clock of this organization. He knows the cadence, he knows the audible system, and now he is taking that intellectual property straight to the opposition. From an insider perspective, the contract details suggest this is a strategic acquisition by the rival front office. You do not bring in a former divisional starter or a former franchise guy unless you want to pick his brain as much as you want to use his arm. This is intelligence warfare, plain and simple. Now, let me switch gears and tell you how I really feel about this. This is absolutely ridiculous. You play for the Texans, you bleed for the Texans, and then you turn around and suit up for the enemy? I don't care if it's business. In the NFL, business is personal. When you walk into that locker room, you are supposed to represent the H-Town spirit. To see a guy who once wore our colors now plotting against us, it makes me sick to my stomach. But let's look at the reality. This puts our defense on high alert. DeMeco Ryans now has to account for the fact that the opposition has a spy, a mole, someone who sat in our meeting rooms. It changes the preparation for those rivalry games entirely. We have seen this narrative play out before in the league, and it rarely ends well for the player, but it always causes a headache for the former team. The Texans organization has moved on. Clearly, we have our guy in C.J. Stroud. We have the future locked down. But this is a pest we have to deal with. It creates a narrative for the upcoming season that we didn't need. It adds fuel to a fire that was already burning hot. You have to wonder what the conversation was like in that front office. Did they know? Did they try to stop it? Or did they just wave goodbye and say good luck? And let's be clear about the rival team here. They are desperate. They are looking for scraps from our table to try and build a meal. That is what this is. They see what we are building in Houston. They see the culture shift, and they want a piece of it. So they go out and sign a guy who used to be here, hoping some of that magic rubs off. It is pathetic, quite frankly. But it is also dangerous, because a motivated player with a chip on his shoulder playing against his old team, that is a recipe for a trap game. We cannot sleep on this. We have to be ready.
Listen, if you want to stay ahead of the curve and get the real truth behind these moves before the mainstream media waters it down, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Don't be the last to know. Join the family. Now we pivot to a name that still evokes a visceral reaction in the city of Houston, Deshaun Watson. Just when you thought we could go a full offseason without rehashing the past, the former Texans quarterback has come out with a statement that is absolutely setting the league on fire. Sources indicate that Watson was incredibly candid, perhaps too candid, about his time in Houston and his current situation. He is talking about the past and the present in a way that suggests he feels vindicated or perhaps misunderstood. But let's look at the facts. The numbers don't lie. Since leaving Houston, the performance on the field has not matched the magnitude of the contract or the noise surrounding him. Let me be very clear about this. The audacity is breathtaking. You forced your way out. You demanded a trade. You put this franchise through absolute hell and high water, and now you have the nerve to speak up and stir the pot? It is unbelievable. Stephen A. is telling you right now, this is a distraction tactic. When you aren't performing on the field, you make noise off the field. That is the oldest trick in the book. But for the Texans, this is noise we do not need. We have turned the page. We have C.J. Stroud, the offensive rookie of the year, a leader, a baller, a man who commands respect. We don't need to look in the rearview mirror at a car wreck when we are driving a Ferrari down the highway. However, we must analyze why this is surfacing now. It's the offseason. Narratives are being built. Watson is trying to reshape his public image. By addressing the past, he is trying to rewrite history. By addressing the present, he is trying to lower expectations or perhaps shift blame. It is a calculated PR move, but it lands clumsily. The Texans fan base has moved on. The organization has cleansed itself of that toxicity, but the national media, oh, they are eating this up. They want the drama. They want the headline, Watson versus Texans part infinity. From a football perspective, this puts pressure on the Browns, not the Texans. The Texans won that trade, period, end of story. Look at the draft capital. Look at the roster construction. Nick Caserio fleeced them. So when Watson speaks, it sounds like sour grapes from a guy who realizes the grass wasn't greener, it was just muddier. But here is the danger. Words have power. This statement rallies his defenders and antagonizes his detractors, creating an environment of volatility. We must stay focused. The Texans cannot take the bait. The best revenge is massive success. The best response is silence and winning. Let him talk. Let him post on social media. Let him do interviews. In Houston, we are focused on championships, not sound bites. But make no mistake, this adds a layer of spice to any future matchups. It reminds the locker room of where we came from and why we never want to go back there.
If the previous stories were about the past, this story is squarely about the future dominance of the Houston Texans. The organization has released an official communique describing an upcoming development as historic. This is not hyperbole. This is not marketing fluff. When a team uses the word historic before the offseason even officially begins, they are planting a flag. Sources tell me this involves a fundamental change to the franchise's identity and operational capacity leading into the draft and free agency. We are talking about setting the stage for the next decade of football in H-Town. This is the moment we have been waiting for. The McNair family and the front office are pushing all the chips to the center of the table. They are telling the NFL, we are not just happy to be here, we are here to take over. This announcement signals a level of investment and commitment that separates the contenders from the pretenders. Whether this is a complete rebranding that honors our roots while looking forward, or a facility upgrade that rivals the best in the world, or a restructuring of the front office that creates a dynasty, it screams ambition. Let's break down the timing. Why now? Why before the combine? Why before the legal tampering period? Because they want players to know. They want free agents to see this news and say, Houston is the place to be. It is a recruiting tool. It is a statement of intent. When you combine this historic news with a young superstar quarterback and a defensive-minded head coach who is beloved by his players, you create a gravitational pull. Agents are looking at this. Veteran players seeking a ring are looking at this. This is the domino effect in action. You have the ex-QB joining a rival? Who cares? You have the controversial ex-QB talking nonsense? Irrelevant. Because here at home, the Texans are making history. They are controlling the narrative. While others talk, the Texans build. This prepares the ground for aggressive moves in the draft. It suggests that Nick Caserio is going to be active, bold, and ruthless. You don't announce historic changes and then have a quiet offseason. No, sir. You announce history because you plan to make history. I am looking at the landscape of the AFC and I see teams that are stagnant. Then I look at Houston and I see a rocket ship taking off. This announcement is the fuel. It energizes the fan base, sure, but more importantly, it energizes the building. It tells every scout, every coach, and every player that the standard has been raised. Mediocrity is no longer acceptable. Good is the enemy of great. We are aiming for legendary. This is the kind of news that keeps you up at night, dreaming of Lombardi trophies. It is the kind of news that makes you proud to wear the deep steel blue. The organization is locking in. The vision is clear. And if you aren't on board, you are going to get left behind.
This is it. We are standing at the precipice of the most important offseason in franchise history. The distractions from the past are trying to claw their way back in, but the organization is pushing forward with historic momentum. The choice is clear. We focus on the future. I need to hear from you right now. With the ex-QBs making noise and the front office making history, what is your level of confidence in this leadership group? Are we locked in for a Super Bowl run, or are these distractions going to slow us down? Drop your take in the comments. We are building something special here, and you are part of it. Stay tuned, stay hungry, and as always, go Texans.